We're handing out $32 million, $1,000 at a time. 1,000 people win $1,000 every single day. Get in on this. It's refund season.
Picks her and puts her on the national stage, and she has infected our body politic ever since. And he doesn't, and because of his loyalty to her, he'd rather throw the country under the bus and stay loyal to her all these years. And now she's not even loyal to him for a second. Exactly. She goes with a scummy guy like Donald Trump who shits on veterans, and she does it pretending that she's sticking up for veterans. Yeah. There's so many layers of hypocrisy and bullshit and doublespeak, and thank God that people are catching on, because I think people watched her endorsement speech like they watch a carnival.
Yeah,
I did.
Charlie
anyway.
Bit my finger.
It's
basically.
It seems like everybody was watching it. That all the news, everybody was like making fun of it immediately.
Of course, yeah. We don't even need to wait for SNL to mock it. We just go right to the source. Really fast, I want to identify why it is that she seemingly just got wrong what the problem is. If she says PTSD, he comes back, he doesn't feel respected. Why is it that she says that instead of he has psychological problems that require treatment? That's not a mistake. She does that on purpose for two reasons. One, if it was that he has medical problems that need to be treated, there is something you can either do or not do. You can support treatment for them, or you could not. And we know who supports the treatment for the troops and who does not. Whereas if it's about whether they're respected or not, you can always claim the other side doesn't respect them enough. Doesn't matter how many times Obama says we have the strongest military in the entire world's history. You can always just say he's disrespecting them. So no action is required if you do what she's saying. You're always right, they're always wrong. And more importantly, when it goes to future conflicts, if you take seriously the obligation we have to cure the harm that we do to our troops by putting them in harm's way, then you might not want to go to war. But if it's all about how respected they should be, well, hell, send them everywhere. We respect them. We respect what they're doing. We respect their sacrificing, as she says. So it both stops us from doing anything in the present and obligates us almost to send them into forward conflicts in the future. It's very convenient for her.
Are you saying that she doesn't support health care for veterans?
It doesn't seem like it, and I know that in the past, with both the first responders and when the why am I not remembering the name of the bill? No, remember there was the hospital that was having all those problems, and so that caused people to finally look at the veterans clinics nationwide. There was a very brief moment where people pretended that they cared at that point, but when the actual votes come up to fund healthcare, and especially mental health care for troops, it's almost never successful.
Correct.
Regardless of the fact that you have a billion Republicans serving in both Congress and Senate right now.
And who was the guy who just retired from the Senate with he was from Oklahoma, Tom Coburn. Coburn, he held up that vote to give mental health benefits to veterans. He did that, right? He gave some weird speech. I mean, Rachel Maddow did a whole sting on it. It was a weird, rambling speech and he cried. He cried while he was denying people health care.
Yeah.
So,
if he realizes the person that he is.
He had the Republicans standing in the way of getting health care to 9/11 responders, right? First responders. And
that's something that goes on up until very recently. Jon Stewart, once again, having to push them to actually fund that particular health care.
So they do that, and they get away with it because the Democrats are so bad at taking advantage of political cakes laid on a platter for democracy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's Sarah Palin. And as I said earlier, she has put Donald Trump in a kind of difficult situation because Sarah Palin gives Donald Trump the endorsement when she already knows that her son has just committed a crime the night before. So is he going to strike back at Sarah Palin for putting him in that awkward position? Or perhaps not. Let's watch.
In Tulsa this afternoon, she spoke about her son's tracks domestic violence arrest on Monday night, implying that it might have had something to do with his combat-related trauma, and she criticized the president's policies dealing with that. Do you think it's fair to link the president with her son's issues?
Oh, I think so. Look, everything starts at the top. He's the president, and I think you can certainly do that. From what I understand, and all you have to do is look at the Veterans Administration, look at the horrible care our vets get. One of the many things I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten that mess out. And you have to say, ultimately, it's the president's charge. It's the president's responsibility. sure that the Veterans Administration works, and it doesn't. Our vets are being treated horribly.
That has to do with our veterans care, health care. Let's talk about the economy now.
Thank you for those follow-ups, Don Lemon. Yeah, so I think that if a former Republican governor, half-term Republican governor's kid punches somebody, it starts at the top. It starts at the president. He's responsible for every individual act of politically inconvenient domestic violence, obviously. And that's
Who's to blame for her daughter having all those kids out of wedlock?
probably Michelle Obama in that case. It probably starts at the top. Yeah, look, first of all, I'm going to clear that mess out. Oh, well, thank you. We now understand what your policy will be in
I don't
regards
think
to
Donald Trump listens. Okay, it's 50-50. There's times when he doesn't listen to the question or doesn't understand it. I'm going to put those in the same category. Other times where he just decides to go with his own angle on it. So when you're asked, hey, so the problem is, do you agree with her placing the blame on Obama for these hospitals? He goes, well, yeah, I'm going to fix all these hospitals. We're not asking what you want to do with these hospitals. But if we're going to get on that subject, I wish the next question would have been, okay, how do you plan on fixing these hospitals? What's wrong with the hospitals that you want to fix?
The question is, does Track Palin have any responsibility for the things that he does?
No.
And that doesn't mean that PTSD didn't contribute to it, or that perhaps because those hospitals don't provide as many services or as accessible services as they perhaps should, that couldn't have helped. But you are still an individual, and you are still responsible for the crimes that you commit. So she never even acknowledge that a crime was committed.
No,
it's just a situation. It's something going on.
He comes back
beating.
No, my son came back feeling bad. That's the situation. Not that he punched a woman in the face.
It makes him feel bad that he punched a woman in the face.
The situation is that my son feels badly, and the president disrespected him. Not that my son just committed a felony assault against a woman.
Yeah.
Not that.
While he was intoxicated.
Once again.
Yeah.
Not that. No, it's so literally what just happened was, hey, did you hear your son just punched somebody when he was drunk again? Thanks, Obama.
And it'll work.
Exactly.
Honestly, if you actually think about the full scope of the argument you could have, they keep talking about how badly veterans are treated. Oh, this sucks. This is actually an ad against joining the military. If you're 18 years old and you're getting, all of us got it in high school at some point. The army recruiter showed up.
Yeah.
I was at a parking lot, like at a strip mall.
And they come up
this
to
guy
you.
just rolled up. And I was like, where are you coming from, right? Because I was wearing flip flops when I was driving. He's like, you can't wear flip flops when you drive. You should join the army. No lie, that was his approach.
Can I wear them while I'm in a tank?
It was crazy. So, and I was sitting there thinking, is this the moment? I know everyone gets it. Is this mine? So at this point, when you get all these people who say support the troops, I'm all about the troops. I've got veteran sons, brothers, fathers, nieces, and nephews. So when you have all this, and then you say the army sucks, you're gonna go and commit your life to this, and come back, and it's gonna suck more. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not going.
Yeah.
But if you actually wrap this up in a good package, this is a great package for not going to the army. And the Republicans, that's another platter served up to anyone who's against these lies they like to tell.
Yeah.
You know the Republicans are against you joining the army? They want to minimize the troops. They want to minimize the numbers there. They want everyone else to win. So we're not going to give that up.
It's also pretending that her son wouldn't have come back damaged from a war started by George Bush. It also pretends that her son wouldn't come back damaged if there was better health care here at home for veterans, which is not the case. He would have came back damaged either way. He just would get better care once he came back damaged.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in war. It's like they come back damaged.
Why do we need care?
Yeah.
If it's so awesome.
So maybe it gives people, won't give Sarah Palin any pause because she's for exploiting her anything and anybody and anyone at any time because she has a narcissistic personality disorder. That's a borderline, those are two borderline personalities on stage together.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem like eventually that's got to explode in their face? Those two people? Perhaps. We'll wait on the edge seat for that.
Ted Cruz and Sarah Palin blew up, so now it's going to be...
There you go.
It will happen.
Be next. Now, the White House has responded to both Sarah Palin and Donald Trump, saying that somehow President Obama is to blame for the Palin family's domestic violence. You're going to see that in this video.
The reaction of some people, I think, is to make light of some of the rhetoric that we see on the campaign trail, particularly from Governor Palin. But the fact is, domestic violence is not a joke. Gun violence is not a joke. Problems with addiction are not a joke. And the consequences, the sacrifices that many of our men and women in uniform make for our safety and security are not a joke. And these are issues that this administration is quite focused on. We take them all very seriously, and there are many communities and families that are dealing with these very difficult challenges in a way that sometimes is difficult to talk about publicly.
So I like that response, and I think that he was picking up on the same thing that JR was, that her tone was, this is funny to you. You think that this is a funny situation. It seems serious to people listening, but you're talking about like ramifications, and it's far more serious than that. Thankfully, your son only held the gun to his own head and threatened to take his life. He didn't actually attempt to take his girlfriend's life this time.
Which, by the way, is very controlling as well.
Of course, yeah. You can't leave or I will kill myself.
Yeah, totally. Where are you going? Where are you going? You don't have these guns. You're thinking, if he's willing to kill himself, who else is he willing to kill? There's so many things it does to people's heads.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the abuse is the abuse.
But at least we know he was raised right.
Yeah. He was raised right.
I disagree with Josh when he said that addiction. He said, domestic violence isn't a joke, and it isn't.
It isn't.
And alcohol abuse, addiction isn't a joke, which I have to disagree. I think there are some addictions.
Some of them.
I had a cousin who was addicted to Three Stooges. And that was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Every time he'd come in, a pie in the face.
Yep.
A guy get.
Do you not find that funny, Josh Ernest?
I thought that was a funny addiction.
So in that story, we have some child abuse that apparently Sarah Palin has put onto her kids, and they've resulted in having terrible lives. So let's talk about some child abuse from someone who isn't biologically related to the kids. Carly Fiorina is apparently having some problems getting people to appear on stage with her for photo ops. Consensually, I should say. She's finding a way around that, though. She's just kidnapping kids now. So she was at a botanical garden in Des Moines, and she wanted to put on a little pro-life demonstration, but she wants some kids on the stage, so she found a group of school kids that were at the garden and just took them and put them on the stage for a pro-life rally.
They look like they're very interested.
A gigantic aborted fetus. Supposedly, with her, you never know. That could be anything. She doesn't have any obligation to the fact.
Those kids look like they woke up this morning and said, you know what, I'd like to go down to the botanical gardens and make a statement about abortion. I think they did.
Bad enough that they have to go to the botanical gardens. Now they have to hang out with Carly Fiorina. Worst field trip ever. So look, you might say, well, maybe they wanted to be involved in this. No, the parents weren't actually consulted.
No.
Chris Beck, the father of one of the 4-year-olds there, we don't know the 4-year-old's position on abortion, but he says the kids went there to see the plants. She ambushed my son's field trip. Taking them into a pro-life abortion discussion was very poor taste and judgment. Wow. I would not want my 4-year-old going to that forum. He can't fully comprehend that stuff. He doesn't understand some of the specifics about 20-week bans versus 16-week bans. He likes dinosaurs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Transformers. All of those, by the way, have a greater chance of becoming president than Carly Fiorina. Raphael for president.
So there was not one single adult at the botanical gardens that day that said, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Well, I'm sure there's a chaperone, but when a presidential candidate comes up and says, you're coming with me, and has staffers, I mean, what are they going to do? Push her away? Assault?
If I was the chaperone,
I would. Crazy woman?
I would say, no,
yeah, you should.
I see, because we're thinking that way. So that's what I was wondering. You're in Iowa. I don't know what the political leanings are of the chaperones, the teachers, whoever's there. Other parents, because a lot of times on field trips, as you know, parents come, some do. And so, especially with preschoolers. So on that field trip, there must have been some that they saw this approach and went, oh, this would be cool. Not thinking, even whether they support her or not, because I think also that particular parent, they asked him later, he said, do you know much about Fiorina? He said, I hadn't given her much thought, but I'm definitely not voting for her now. But even outside of that, some of these idiots were like, oh, this will be fun for they can appear on stage. We can tell their parents about it later.
Like,
your kid was on stage with the presidential candidate. Think of the moments. Because that's how he found out. One of the chaperones or someone with the school told him, hey, your kid was on stage. That wasn't that great? And then the reaction was bad.
Yeah.
And he went, maybe I should have kept this to myself. So they thought it was a cool event. They thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, and behind them, I don't know if we had another picture of the scene. Behind them is a huge picture of a fetus.
Yeah, 4-month-old fetus.
Yeah, I don't know if you're probably going to get to it, but someone else got on stage with
someone else.
Figurine.
Yeah.
I think you were getting that. John.
Yes.
Yeah. So they had a figurine of a fetus sucking its thumb. to imply that therefore it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court said 40 years ago. You
And
don't
look,
actually
this
have the right
is
to
the
abortion.
face of death or
Yeah.
something like that. It's
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course, you're gonna get horrific when you're trying to.
I think she's also against the Family and Medical Leave Act. I'm going to guess she's against that. I'm going to guess she's against funding Head Start. I'm going to guess she's against all those things that would help those kids.
She wants the kids to have life. Shitty life.
Shitty life, and move to Flint, Michigan, and drink lead water because it saves us a nickel.
Yeah. Look, I think this is all sad, but I think the saddest part might be, so she gets all those kids on stage, and then the kids are like, this is amazing. I feel like kind of a celebrity. Like, maybe I can get involved in politics. And then she went back to her instincts, and she fired all of them. Threw them out on the street.
I was reading
she's a terrible, terrible candidate.
I was reading about this exploitation of 4-year-olds for an abortion rally. I was reading about this.
Crazy that's a sentence.
Yeah, if you say it out loud, then you really realize how ridiculous this was.
Yeah.
Use loudest. I'm sorry.
4-year-olds that she doesn't even know. It's not like her family. It's not like I have my nieces and nephews or my grandkids around me. There's somebody else's kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on stage with pictures of aborted fetuses. So, The Guardian covered this, and I was reading this story in The Guardian, and they had referred to, her, she's now famous for her stances on the Planned Parenthood edited big doctored videos that have been debunked. The Guardian referred to them, I swear to God, as disputed videos.
I know, that pissed me off too.
Disputed.
They're not disputed.
They're not disputed. They've been debunked. Those are two different things.
She
lied. She lied about them. The guy who put them together admitted that they're fucking phony videos.
Yeah.
The guy who put them together admitted.
But
so
even
they're not
that,
disputed anymore.
It's not just that
Nobody
the
disputes.
stuff in the video wasn't what it was supposed to be. Is that she was referring to stuff that wasn't even in the edited version.
Yes. So, and why would I thought The Guardian is like a lefty progressive newspaper. It turns out there's a lot of bad stuff in there.
Yeah. I guess you're not allowed to just say, yeah, she said that she saw something, but we looked into it and she was fucking lying.
And that's why.
Why not write that?
And why do people get their news from YouTube? Because we frame it properly.
Yeah.
Because we don't kowtow to bullshit, which is exactly what I like The Guardian. I think they do good work most of the time. But then even there you go, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's sad. But good news, she's at like 1.5%. So she won't be in the campaign for much longer.
1.5%. I read that line too. If I'm polling at 1.5%, I know it's just in Iowa. I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to stay in this as long as possible. She doesn't really think she's going to win. No one thinks she's going to jump up from 1.5 and then get the nomination. So at this point, I'm thinking, I'm staying in as long as I can so my speaker fees go up and this book I write,
that's
2 books I write go up. That's the point, right? Yeah. Stop using other people. You're not going to win. Don't get yourself in more trouble. Just kind of fly where you are on the radar, low. And just chill out. I don't get doing this. Like, you don't have to go balls out because you're not close.
Yeah, you don't have to go
Ted Cruz has to go balls out. Even Mark Rubio still has to go balls out. Even Jeb Bush, just because of his name, has to go balls out. But he's not close to winning. At this point, just
chill out, yeah. Let her break. Maybe she thinks there's still time for Donald Trump and Ted Cruz to crater and she could blow up. Yeah, but it's probably about the books. I hear she's actually working on a kid's book. It's filled with illustrations that she stole from those kids. Anyway, we're going to take our first break. I hope that you've already been tweeting us at hashtag TYT Live and that we have an iPad full of your comments, which we'll read when we come back. Lots more stories still to come in this hour. We'll see you soon.
Hey everybody. I don't know when this actually starts. I'm going to wait till this tells where we're going.
everybody. Welcome back to the first hour of the Young Turks. We're just here listening to a couple of different songs simultaneously. Did you know, by the way, that there is going to be a new Democratic candidate forum on Monday hosted by CNN? So it's going to be filled with follow-up questions like we saw in that video we showed you. Yes, it's on Monday, January 25th. We will be doing live coverage, I believe, here and on location, but definitely here, starting at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, 5:45 p.m. Pacific, which you can watch at tytnetwork.com/live. I believe the early heads up is that on YouTube, it'll be at youtube.com/tytlive, but you can avoid that confusion by just going to tytnetwork.com/live. There were a bunch of good tweets I want to get at. Some people are saying that Track Palin was not a combat vet, that he worked on trucks, and that generally the sons of famous people are protected. I don't know for sure about that, but it seems to make some sense. That could certainly be the case.
I think I would have PTSD just from flying to Iraq.
I think so. Knowing that I was going to fly to Iraq, thinking about it for long enough, the Chris Lopaco brings up a great point. Track Palin has PTSD, but he's still allowed to have a gun. I have to say that Palins don't sound like responsible gun owners. So it's all about mental illness. You just have to deal with the mental illness. Let him have the gun, which, by the way, when he got divorced before, apparently as part of the settlement, they had to bargain over the huge amount of firearms that they had. He should still have them, though, even though, according to you, he is so hardened and messed up that he's a danger to himself and others. But let's make sure it's a long-range danger. Give him all the firearms he wants.
not allowing him to have this treatment, and he's coming for his guns.
He's not doing it either. He has the treatment. He's not taking the gun.
And ISIS.
And Illuminati. Bernie Sanders says this is the ultimate thanks Obama. That is true. The Chris Lopaco, another good point. What would happen if Obama's kids threatened someone with a gun?
Absolutely.
PTSD. Rafer Madness says, if it all starts at the top, is Trump's hair to blame for Trump?
Nice.
Oh,
who's that?
That's Rafer Madness.
Oh, I think I follow Rafer.
There you go.
If not, you were going to get a follow.
You're about to. Get ready. And we also want to, before we get back into the news, thank two of our members. Member number 2795, Amir Ragwi, and member number 2641, Maxine Gilbert. Thank you for being members of TYT.
I'm going to unfollow you.
And then follow you?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
then I'm going to follow you again.
Stop tweeting us good stuff. You might lose all your followers. Okay, let's talk about a little bit of good news, I guess. It's a mixed bag, I'm going to be honest. Okay. During just 2015, the TSA seized literally thousands of guns from people that were trying to get those guns out of planes in their carry-on luggage. So they seized 2,653 guns in just 1 year. It doesn't take that many to cause a major problem. It takes one usually. The TSA said the figure is a 20% increase over the number of guns that were captured by its agents in 2014, and are also the highest number of firearms that have been intercepted in 1 year in its history. So in the same way that carbon in the atmosphere keeps going up, and firearm sales keep going up, we can expect that the TSA is going to have an increasing problem with people trying to bring on their guns. The TSA said that 2,198 of them, or almost 83%, were loaded. Well, I guess you would want them to be. If you're going to cause an international incident, you're going to want the ammunition close at hand. So thankfully, 17.2% of gun owners were responsible enough to take the fucking ammunition out. Thank you for doing that. The airport with the most gun incidents in 2015 was, oh, look at that, surprising, it's Dallas, which had 153 guns captured. The second busiest was Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. A lot of, I believe, musicians wanting to take the guns on the airport. 144 there. And then it goes on, even Austin, I have to say, unfortunately, was on the list. Although my belief is that that's people flying back to Dallas. I'm not sure, though. And Florida, doing a pretty good job. Not all over the list. And by the way, in case you did not know this, I don't think you should need to have this in graphic form, but TSA rules prohibit passengers from carrying guns in their carry-on luggage. What? Under the agency rules, firearms must be packed into checked luggage and unloaded. You're still allowed to bring the guns on the plane. Are we not merciful? Please don't put them in your backpack underneath the seat in front of you. Loaded.
Well, it might not fit. That's like
it might not fit. That's true.
So,
it's like, sir, your AR is not going to fit in that way, sir.
You need to put wheels in, please.
Exactly. Just keep it on your lap. Don't point it right up at the ceiling.
This happens so much. So you wonder, the TSA is doing a terrible job. Look at all these terrorists showing up at our airports with loaded guns, ready to shoot. Who are the people that are doing it?
Where's the outrage?
No, I need to see who are the people doing it, because I'm going to make a whole lot of assumptions, and it's not good to do. I'm not going to do it anyway. Dallas, Houston, where else we had? Austin,
Atlanta.
three cities in Florida.
Oh, there were 3 cities in Florida. I did not actually see that many on the list.
Orlando, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think the terrorists they're swooping to the south. They're starting to run straight to the bottom of the country.
Yeah, what is that about? Orlando, Nashville?
Immigrants run up from Mexico, then they run over to the side towards Florida.
Yeah. There's a lot of gun-owning, jet-setting Mexicans committing acts of domestic terrorism.
I'm just saying, this is one of the consequences of all the fear. You're probably like, I'm gonna be that guy. What was the flight on 9/11 that was actually taken over and the guy's
Flight 82 or something like that?
Yeah, there was a movie. 92, 94, I can't remember. But I'm gonna be that badass. I think there's a large percentage of these people who come on the place. Others are just, they really do want to cause harm and just shooting when they can, so they get off the plane. But the rest of them are thinking, I'm gonna be that hero. I'm gonna pack my gun and put it on the plane so that when that terrorist jumps up and says whatever he's gonna say that I can't understand, he's probably gonna speak in Spanish, and then I'm gonna get to shooting. They plane. They think they're commandos. Remember the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Passenger 57.
Yeah, but all of them, they don't think they're that guy.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Never bet on black. But no, there's this hero in them. They're like, I'm gonna put my gun on the plane, my AR fucking 15 in my bag.
Yeah.
It's gonna let off one round and kill that terrorist.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get celebrated. They make a movie about me.
We should have done conservative air as an after. God damn. What's wrong with us? By the way, and again, I read these are the laws for the TSA. You should understand this. But for all of those people that bring their bag loaded with guns and ammunition and they put it on the thing through the scanner, what do you think they're scanning for? If not guns. And by the way, JR was showing us the TSA keeps basically like a Tumblr, and they have a blog, and they have an Instagram of all the things people bring through. It's like TNT and grenades and a cannon. What do you think they're looking for? Like, man, they really don't want you to bring mouthwash on that plane. They have this whole apparatus just for liquids. No, it's for firearms. That's the thing we want least on a plane. And you just can't go on vacation without a sidearm? We've got a major problem of fear and suspicion in this country.
I'm gonna let you speak, Doug. But also, I looked up some of the I guess once you're arrested for these things. Because again, you're talking about the mouthwash. We were coming back from Des Moines, and I was worried about the mouthwash. I was right behind John in line. I said, "Oh shit!" So mouthwash is like 5 ounces. Damn it! So I'm like scrambling for like a garbage. Yeah, I'm trying for a garbage can to toss it out in. But because I'm thinking, if they annoy me, I've been stopped before. They're like, "Oh, what's this?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's just an apple juice for my kid, right?" I forgot. But up to 10 years in prison and $35,000 to $7,500 fine. So this many people were busted. We're pumping out this many fines, and they're thinking this is fine. We can do this again. Are they actually getting the 10 years in prison? No, they're getting a fine of like $1,000 actually. It's like, move on, just being a good guy. You want to stop a terrorist from striking. When is there something that's going to be able to stop you from doing this? Yeah. What's the option? What are we going to do? Yeah. I don't know. Think about how many got through. 26,753 got stopped. How many went through?
A lot. Believe me, a lot.
I accidentally brought a Swiss Army knife onto a plane. I know because they found it on the return flight when I was being scanned. And I was like, I didn't even know I owned a Swiss Army knife.
Really?
Planted on me. I don't know, but they didn't see it on the way in.
Really?
Yeah.
I had that. So I used to always, hide my pot in my balls when I would fly, and so I remember, I would always take the pat down.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, no, I'm going to go through the metal. I don't want to go through the pat. So I go through the metal detector or whatever that thing is, that backscatter.
Yeah.
And I hear, there's an anomaly on his upper right thigh. I'm like, that's my penis, probably. And then they're like, there's an anomaly, which like, I quit saying that. It's quit humiliating me. And so the guy comes over and goes, hi, there's an anomaly. I know, I heard.
Yeah.
So he started, he goes, I have to pat you down with the front of my hands. Is that okay? And I was like, sure. Is it okay if I fly with a wet spot? Less than 3 ounces. I know the rules. Anyway, that's my story.
Fucking Jimmy Dore. Yeah.
That's my story. It's a true story, but
There's other flavor stories. If there's something connected to that cool.
No, I didn't ejaculate while being scanned by the CSA.
I don't want to go off this topic.
I also have a jizz tale to tell.
God, that's expensive.
What were you gonna say?
That's a little.
Like, we think a lot of people are hiding. I looked at stuff from 2014. I think a lot of people, how they hide it in their bags and they're trying to get through. But there's a couple small accounts of the most crazy things from 2014. Sorry.
Yeah.
There was a 94-year-old man who attempted to enter the checkpoint at LaGuardia in New York with a loaded caliber revolver clipped to his belt. So it wasn't even like he was trying to hide it. He's just thinking,
come at me,
totally. So does he not know? Has he not flown?
Yeah, maybe he has
35
years. He's 94.
35 years ago, he couldn't do that shit either.
The planes are improved by the addition of speed holes.
I don't know what that means, but I think
you can't bring your gun on. And you know that there are Second Amendment activists who are saying I should be allowed to bring my gun on. And one thing, like, people love, I posted this yesterday on Twitter, people love to, like, post comments in videos where they say that the thing that the video is about we never talk about. Yeah. I love that they missed that. But anyway, we criticize the TSA and their methods in a number of different ways. And a lot of it is BS, and a lot of it's unnecessary, but we are giving credit where credit is due that they did stop literally thousands of guns being brought into planes in 1 year.
So this is exactly, now you were talking about speed holes. I predicted that speed dating would lead to even worse things. And then
far worse.
I don't know. I'm sorry, okay. This is enough to make, we do stories a lot of times about annoying TSA and how they grope people and they laugh at your balls when they do the x-ray thing. I'm going to get x-ray scanning, I'm going to get cancer. All the stuff I'm worried about. But I'm ready to go right to the other side. I'm not talking about like what we perceive as terrorists already in this country. All these people that are doing this stuff, check everybody, man. Empty the fucking bags. I don't want any of these guns on any flights I'm on.
It's crazy.
When someone fucks up, even when they're not trying to shoot it, and they're jamming the bag into the fucking seat, and the gun goes off.
And some people might see that as hypocrisy, but when we say we don't want you to violate our rights in all of these ways and all of that, and I do think that they go too far, and I don't think that the backscatter thing is a huge radiation threat or anything like that, but the taking off the shoes, all these different things that they do, I believe, are unnecessary, and I believe that you can show that empirically. But we also sort of assume when we say that people in our country who are flying aren't fucking crazy people. But unfortunately, we live in a country full of fucking crazy people who think that they're the last line of defense against ISIS or whatever.
Like Marco Rubio.
Exactly. Yeah.
He flies.
Yeah. Check his pants the next time he flies.
At Christmas
anyway,
Eve.
On Christmas Eve. Okay. With the election drawing closer and closer with every passing day, ESPN has decided to put out a memo for their on-air talent to tell them what they can and can't do vis-a-vis political speech and talking about candidates and issues, who they are voting for, and things like that. Here are a few small sections from that memo. We should refrain from political editorializing, personal attacks, or drive-by comments regarding the candidates and their campaigns, including but not limited to on platforms such as Twitter or other social media. They did grant an exception to staffers at 538, the Nate Silver-founded property that regularly covers politics and sports using data. That makes sense.
Using data.
Yeah, exactly. They also... That's true. That's an attack on a lot of other media outlets.
That's a new idea.
If an employee is covering a candidate who appeared at a game or live event, they are to avoid political commentary or prolonged references, according to the memo. So, like, you can, like, mention Waterboy or Office Space, but you can't do a whole bunch of those references. Anyway, so it went on and on and on about the different things they can talk about, and basically, they don't want their hosts talking about politics. Now, this is a sports network, which I don't watch a lot of, so for those of you who might actually watch it, do you think it makes sense for them to sort of get out in front of this sort of thing? Should there be some open expression? I mean, you have people like Keith Olbermann who are obviously extremely experienced and talented with the sports side, but they're also extremely politically
the problem opinionated. Comes more from the right-wingers on ESPN, because Keith Olbermann, if he says something, yes, it might be political, but it's not going to be batshit crazy, racist, or fucking, off the charts, which is what happens. Right? So that Kurt Schilling...
you want to show those?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go right ahead.
You do.
I'm not going to understand the backstory of this because I don't pay attention to Kurt.
But anyway, so that's a bigger problem. And I like what they call it drive-by comments.
Mm-hmm.
Drive-by comments?
Yeah.
We had another drive-by commenting in Watts today. Let's go to the scene right now. Guy drove by, called me a dick, and it still hurts.
It hurts.
I got 3 other kids got hit by that same dick. There's kids here.
He called me a dick. He said something about the EPA. I don't know, for or against. It was a drive-by. There was no time.
It was a climate change thing. I don't know what. I heard climate change, global warming.
Carbon.
And I'm like, yeah. Then I'm like, scientists are all on the tape.
Well, when I first read this, I was thinking I was going to be in the minority of thinking it was a good idea for ESPN. I mean, because you talk about Kurt Schilling. He got in some issues last year when he tweeted stuff about the Nazis and compared them to Muslims. And then afterwards, after the suspension, because it was right when the MLB playoffs were happening, so he was off of the analyst team.
Yeah.
And he's one of the top analyst guys in the studio, I think. So he's off the team. They replaced him. And then he comes back. We can look at both these. I think this is the one with Ben Carson, this particular graphic.
Yeah.
Where after getting back, he decides to post this to Facebook because he's like, Twitter. On Twitter, I've been busted on Twitter. So he takes to Facebook.
Kurt, the thing about people who are racist is that they're so dumb, right? Like he doesn't understand the difference. He doesn't understand what's wrong with that. He doesn't get that, right? Like that'd be like us saying because of Vietnam we shouldn't have any Vietnamese presidents, or we shouldn't have any Serbian presidents, or we shouldn't have any German presidents, or whatever. You can keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that doesn't. Kurt Schilling goes, well, that sounds right.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have any of those presidents.
Yeah, because the difference between those positions is the preconceptions you have about one group as being distinct in some fundamental way from other sorts of people, but that is simply the bathwater they dwell in, so they can't see that they're surrounded by it.
They have no idea. That's like literally so ignorant so dumb and ignorant that Kurt Schilling tweets that out like, why didn't he just put "I'm dumb" at the bottom? I'm really dumb.
They should all be signed that.
They should all be. How have Americans completely lost their minds? Besides me, I never had one to lose. I'm dumb, Kurt Schilling.
By the way, not just Kurt Schilling. 484 people are like, nailed it.
Like,
what do you get from it? I mean, honestly, so I'm okay with it. Whether it's a progressive talking point to some conservatives saying posting this craziness, we can also do the person that got Kurt Schilling.
Let's please show
with the Nazi one. This is what got him in the first trouble in the first place. So the post, this was the tweet. It said only 5 to 10% of Muslims are extremists. It's said. In 1940, only 7% of Germans were Nazis. How'd that go for you? Apparently the math is staggering.
So again, Muslims are like Nazis. Again, he should have at the bottom, I don't get things. I'm Kurt Schilling, dumb guy on TV.
History is just, that's tough history.
Yeah. So does Kurt Schilling and Adam Baldwin get together and try to do math problems? Do they get together and try to figure out how to tie their shoes at the same time? How do you tie your shoes, Kurt? I use slip-ons.
Velcro's the way to go.
Yeah. You know who else uses slip-ons? Nazis.
Can you bring that back up for just 1 second? I love just the little things you can figure out. Like this person who took that screenshot, not a follower of Kurt Schilling. I like that. Anyway, so look,
not a follower of
it. Yeah, exactly. I love that. So it's ESPN. They're a private corporation. They can limit certain types of speech. This is not the government. Most people don't understand what the First Amendment is actually about, but they're allowed to limit that if they want to. I think if they wanted to have it open that you can talk about that sort of thing, I think that in some ways that might help them because it might make the personalities seem more like real people as opposed to just sports figures from the past. But at the same time, people go and they want to watch sports. And they want to figure out, what's going on with the team and the roster or whatever. And do they just want a random reference to Planned Parenthood? Probably not. There's a YouTube channel that I follow that's actually about board games. But anyway, it's a great channel, and they occasionally just go off on these discussions about religion that seem oddly out of place. They're allowed to do that 100%, and I still love the channel. But there is something to be said for having a bit of consistency in the sorts of things you talk about. And so ESPN is probably not making the right choice business-wise for them.
I think it is the not right. I think it is.
No, I think they're probably making the right choice.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
If they went the other way, I'd be perfectly fine with that too. It's their company.
No, I think the reason why they're doing this is because they don't want to have to fire Kurt Schilling.
They already had to fire, Rush Limbaugh back in the day.
Yeah, they had to fire Rush Limbaugh.
Because, that was a great hire. A good football analyst.
Yes.
What was it? It was like day one, it was something about black quarterback.
He talked about Donovan McNabb. I think the media, it was a media argument. Yeah, he flashed back, he was on his radio show.
So the
media is just trying to build up this black quarterback, but he's actually not good, because Donovan McNabb was an ineffective quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. didn't go to Super Bowls, didn't win straight NFC championship games. He did that stuff. None of that happened.
Yeah, it's all the PC culture of trying to pretend. Liberals are always about pretending.
There's always
Not conservatives. They're not science deniers. They don't deny reality. None of that stuff. It's the liberals who are so pretenders. Why do they have to? Why can't they just tell the truth? And that's, again, I will say it again. Racists don't think they're racist. They think they're telling the truth. Kurt Schilling thinks he's telling the truth with those tweets.
Yeah.
He thinks like, well, I'm going to have the courage to say, what's the fucking problem? Muslims. We all see it. What's the? That's Kurt Schilling.
Yeah. That was a slightly more intellectual version of Kurt Schilling.
Yes, I was.
But it was close. Yeah, work on it a little bit. You're coming off as educated. Too much. A little bit. Okay, a little bit of bad news.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. 2015 was a record-breaking year in how hot the planet got. Not the hottest ever on record. The hottest since we started tracking this, but only as far back as 1880. It's only the hottest since 1880. Natural fluctuation. We've just been going up ever since then.
The average, the sun is hot.
It's just, and it gets closer somehow. The average surface temperature across the globe was 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit above the 20th century average. That may not sound like a lot, but we talk about the irreparable damage that would be done from 2 extra degrees Celsius. We're getting there. That broke previous year's record by nearly 0.3 degrees in 1 year. The largest margin by which a temperature record has been broken. So both in terms of the absolute amount of heat and the rate at which it's going up, we are breaking records. 2015 became the 4th year since just 2000 to break the annual temperature record. 10 months broke their monthly temperature marks last year, including 5 that bested the previous mark by record high margins. They're on fire! And probably not unstoppable at this point. So, look, this is bad news. We're combining this with, I did a final judgment today on how we're overfishing the oceans, but thankfully we are replacing it with plastic, which by 2050 there's going to be more weight of plastic in the ocean than fish.
But have you had the plastic sushi rolls?
It's amazing.
Oh, fresh.
Yeah.
Woo! If you get them fresh.
Yeah.
Pack them up in a 6-pack.
So, then you eat the thing they hold the 6-pack together. It's wonderful. So you combine, like, the planet is just falling apart. And it's not like it has to happen. I understand that, like, if you found out in 1901, I guess, that all the factories and everything, they're just heating things up, like, but we have so far we need to go with these factories. That we've gotten the most out of the extremely polluting technology that we use. We can still use all of our smartphones, all of our computers. We can have electricity all over the freaking place. We can all be driving electric cars, but we can be doing it powered by renewable sources of energy. That is not impossible. There are many countries around the globe that are already doing it. We talked about Denmark. 42% of their energy came from just the wind. There's wind in America, too. It's a really goddamn big country. We can start to harness these forms of renewable energy so that we can still live in the affluent, luxurious way that we've grown accustomed to without setting the entire globe on fire.
That's awesome.
But it doesn't have to. Solar energy has been dropping in price like crazy until Arizona tried to destroy their state solar market. And developing these sorts of technology will give jobs to people. Why wouldn't we want that?
So you're convinced this global warming thing's real?
I understand that many people believe, good people, smart people on both sides of the aisle believe that it's a hoax invented by the Chinese. Which Donald Trump literally said on his Twitter a couple of years ago. I think it's real. I think it's real, and I think it's a problem. We already have, the Zika virus that's causing developmental problems in kids that are infected by it. Many people, it's some new virus. Why is that a problem in America all of a sudden? It's because the rising heat has changed the migratory patterns of certain types of mosquitoes, and like many other parasites, they're going to be moving into areas they were never before in, or lasting longer in the areas that they're native to, like because the climate's heating up.
The Republicans in the Senate.
Exactly.
It was only happening. I think there was
an invasion.
A couple cases of the talking about Zika. I think Brazil, where a couple things were happening, but then that's too far away.
That's too far away. Yeah.
Like once one case of Ebola was struck in America because someone came back and they're like, it's the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
So finance, and the reason I bring those things up is because we're talking about the hottest year just last year, but we're thinking, oh, summertime, whatever. What are you guys worried about? United States of America is not Earth, So there's no real picture in our head of the polar ice caps how that's changing. Because like I don't live up there, it's still cold, and the pictures they still see is freezing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not a big deal. I can live up there; everything is fine. There's no comparison to reality in previous life. Like, oh yeah, who cares? Soon we'll all be like California weather. What are you complaining about?
Yeah.
You know, it was 25 degrees today. Like, there's such
it's
a
a
small
stupid way of
window.
thinking.
Yeah.
I live in Pasadena. I look forward to it being beachfront property, Johnny. That's what I'm looking forward to in my radio voice.
Exactly.
That's a great joke. Listen,
Fishing from your downtown apartment.
so
That's going to be delightful.
let me ask you guys a question. So do you think that, either of you think that we're ever going to properly address, as a species, the global climate change problem before it's too late? Do you think we'll ever, do you think?
I mean, if you ask a lot of people, it is already too late.
I think it's already too
But
late.
the thing is, too late is this thing we set up as, oh, well then fuck it. But that's not true. I mean, there's too late, and then there's like really too late.
Well, I don't think
And eventually we can swing things back, but we might be putting that off farther and farther by allowing more and more carbon into the air.
I don't think we can. I agree with what you're saying. What I'm saying is that I don't think we can reverse it. I think it's too late. And I think that the climate is changing. The temperature is rising. These things are irreversible because we're not going to get it's not going to happen. The people who own the oil, it's not happening.
We'll run out eventually.
Eventually.
That makes it a lot harder to use oil. But I mean, look, we've seen.
I think we should. My point is that I think we should stop trying to stop global warming, and we should start planning for it. It's coming. It's here now. It's actually here. So we should just start planning for it. Like, how are we going to help people who are affected by it, and put all our energy into that instead of all our energy into this futile thing of trying to stop global climate change? It's not going to happen.
Well, what I always say is
we're burning every last fucking drop of oil. Is what I'm saying.
That is possible. I mean, there's certain types of oil that are already economically infeasible thanks to the dropping.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, what I would say is it's not just we should do all of these things that would be better for the environment to stop carbon from being emitted. We don't have to make that choice anymore. When I talk about how people should drive electric cars, it's not just because that in most states is already cleaner. Electric cars have a lot of benefits over gas-powered cars, and I think as more and more people get experience with them, they will start to experience that. Switching over to energy-efficient appliances doesn't just improve the environment, it uses less energy. We pay for the energy we use, it will save you money. Using solar power will save you tons of money over the long run. There are all these things we can do that are better for the environment and also better for us individually, economically, more practical, safer in some cases. I mean, we can benefit in these ways while also improving the state of the earth.
It's impossible because things have to be mandated. People have to be forced to do these things. We had the water crisis, we still do, in Southern California. And there was these limits on your water. And we're talking about the rich people in these certain areas, Beverly Hills, wherever, Bel Air, were like, fuck it, I'll pay the $7,500 fine. I'm watering my grass.
Yeah.
So there'll still be people that do it. And these people who don't have the means to do things like that, they're just used to it. We'll still leave the house with the lights on. And we're not going to think, the thought would be, oh, me turning off that lamp. Come on, you know how many people live in Southern California? Am I really doing it? It has to be forced. And that's something that can't happen in this country. You're not going to force anybody to do anything because they're going to start crying, where's my freedom? And they'll win that argument.
When I leave, I always leave a light on because I live in a Motel 6, but that's just the way you're supposed to do it.
Why don't we ask the audience, using the framing that you gave, so how would you like that worded? Is it too late when it comes to global warming? Or do we still have time?
Here's how I would word it.
What do you got?
Should we stop trying...
Shift over from stopping it instead to getting ready.
Climate change to getting ready to help the people most affected by climate change.
So should we focus on stopping it, or should we focus on getting ready for it? Okay.
That's what that's a good way to put it. Yeah. And I hope I bet there's smartest thing.
At the very least, some of them, I think. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. No! Sorry. It's too late to show prepared. But we did super short-sighted. I'm here on record. I'm ready right now. I'm ready to get that
Sweaty with a D.
There you go.
Sweaty.
Yes. That's enough. Yeah. That's
Break.
But Anna is going to be here, and which I believe is taking place in Des Moines. I don't know why.
Background guy.
We'll be doing live somebody's there. We might even have people on. Thank you guys.
Okay. Well, we want to welcome everybody to this episode.
That's all we've got. Continue tweeting hashtag TYT Live.
We'll get this under control.
Hang on, guys.
We'll just take one moment.
Hang on, everybody.
Hi everybody, I'm Angela with Bernie 2016 TV, and we are having a We the People special with Portia Bulger. She is one of the founding members from Women for Bernie, one of a group of many incredible women across the country who have just jumped in, some of them activists, some of them longtime volunteers in different parts of the community. And so we're really excited to have Portia here because she's going to help us understand how Bernie is great for women. So welcome, Portia.
Hi, it's really great to be with you. Thanks.
So I wanted to introduce you not only as one of the founding members of Women for Bernie, but also as a longtime activist. And so I wanted to just thank you up front for all the work you've done, because we're going to talk about a lot of the different types of demonstrations you've done and mic checks with people to really call into action what they've done and really make sure that they answer to the consequences of some of their actions that have been hurtful to the communities that you've been a part of. So what I'd like to do is show slide 2 to show that she has met Bernie Sanders. We have one of those wonderful pictures with Bernie where she has met him on numerous occasions, and so she's going to tell us a little bit about that as well. And we also have comment moderator Celeste with us today, and John, who's also producing the show. And Celeste will come on, and she's going to bring up some questions or comments that you may have. So if you're watching this and you come up with ideas or things you would like to ask Portia, please put them in the YouTube comments, and then Celeste will bring them up on the air as we're talking about it over the next hour. And we'll see what kind of great ideas Portia has for us. So let's turn to Portia now, and let's just talk to you for a moment so you can tell us a little bit about yourself. What has brought you into politics growing up, and just in your life in general, has drawn you to a life of service of others like this?
What drew me into politics was my father. I grew up with being raised by my father. My mother was killed in a car wreck when I was 6 years old, and my dad raised me and my brother. And he was pretty politically astute. He paid attention. And we just grew up hearing about Democrats around our supper table. In terms of being drawn towards service to others, maybe it was because I grew up as a poor white child in Ross County at the foothills of the Appalachia, and I experienced being poor firsthand, being called poor white trash. That that little girl that lived over there across that street, and I was raised to be kind, honest, have a stiff backbone, tell the truth, and don't take any shit from me.
Exactly. Well, so can you still hear me, John? I heard a little blip, so
You're all fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine.
So, when we were talking about that, you talked about your dad being, basically a single dad. So you resonate a lot with single parents and what their experiences have been, probably from a child's perspective, but also just probably understanding as an adult now, looking back and reflecting what it was like for him. So when you decided to go into political activism, what were some of the things that you chose to be active and involved with first? We're going to show some of these slides. We can go to slide 3 at any time, John, that you would like, and we'll just kind of go through 3, 4, and 5 while Portia talks about her experience in the early years of activism.
Well, I was a single mother myself, and I had my first baby at the age of 16 years old. I fought to get through high school, graduate with my class. I went on and went to college and got an undergrad degree from OU in business management, human resource management, and then went later and got a master's in early childhood education, intervention specialist, and reading specialist. Going back to my years as a young adult and a young mom, when I was still married, I worked at Rubbermaid here in Chillicothe, and I was one of the first 100 people hired there in a non-union shop. I was also one of the first people to help organize a union. And I found out we lost, but I learned so much, and I learned how to fight hard, because they labeled all of us, they wanted rid of us. Being a mother, pregnant, and working in a factory and having problems with my second child, thank God I did have awareness of politics and paying attention to the law, because I knew about the Pregnancy Act of 1977. I believe it's 77, maybe 76. And when my doctor put me on light duty, the factory refused. They said, "What do you mean? We've got over 85 women. If you get this, then they'll all want it." And I'm like, well, that's the law. And I fought back and I won. But
there was a picture that from 1984. It's slide 3, John, from what's it, Mountain Life and Work magazine of Appalachian South. What was that from? Because was that around that time period that you were talking about?
Well, at Rubbermaid, that was in the 70s, but the Mountain Life and Work is when I worked as a union carpenter. I'm union to the bone. As a single mom, making $5 an hour as a secretary, I needed to make more money to save my home so that I didn't lose it, and to help my children have what they deserved and needed. And so I got into the carpentry apprenticeship program, and so that's a picture of me working out right past an Air Force base.
And she's one of my favorite guests, so I'm super excited to finally have you on the
show. As a result of being a woman in the trades, I found out very quickly we needed support. So I organized and was successful in establishing a 501c3 organization to empower women, and so we focused on helping women and minority males get into the trades, learn the ropes, learn how to fight back, and learn to stand tall. Good job.
All right, guys.
Don't ever be a token. Don't ever have a token
stories we have prepared for you guys. I also want to remind you to tweet to us using the hashtag TYT Live, and we will
one thing before
read the ones
I
that
wanted to mention something about union stuff. So you were working, you were a single parent, and you've been from a single parent home. I wanted to touch base on that really hard part. We're going to go into talking about healthcare and the Equal Rights Amendment, and so I want people to understand when you're facing your questions or comments for Portia today, let's really think about how we can help people in the community that she's talking about. People that have worked really hard or have to go over major obstacles to be able to provide an opportunity for their families, and it makes it difficult when the government works against them. So if you have questions or comments regarding those two topics especially, let's start putting those out there so we can have those added to the discussion for Portia. So I think we have a video, actually. I wanted to show you in action, and you sent us a really great video of you, and I'd like you to kind of preface that video before we load it. So John, video one, please, if you would like to show that. It's when Portia is mic checking a certain somebody. So I'll let you explain that, Portia.
Well, in 2010, as we all know, across the nation, Tea Party government, Tea Party took over state governments. Ohio was one of them. John Kasich, who is running in the primary Republican presidential race, is the governor of Ohio, and he's destroying it. And when he came on board, it was a nightmare, and it still is a nightmare. He's a layman brother's boy. He doesn't give a damn about anybody in Ohio unless they're in the 1%. He doesn't give a damn about anybody in the state if he was sitting here right now.
In this great documentary film
he has destroyed our land, he has destroyed our public education. It is a nightmare. He came after the unions, boom, just like that. And right when he came after the unions, Scott Walker was going after him in Wisconsin, and they knew that the Koch brothers are brilliant, and both of these governors are Koch brother babies, and they knew that if they took down the unions in Wisconsin and Ohio, it was going to dominate country because the AFL, the American Federation of Labor, was born in Columbus, Ohio, and in Wisconsin they were the first to organize public union workers. So we're lucky here in Ohio because we have the opportunity to put things on the ballot through the power of the people and petitioning. And so a lot of the things that you will see as far as a few of the pictures out of me is fighting back for rallies against what we called, at that time was called Senate Bill 5. And it was going to take away the power of the unions. And John Kasich is no friend of mine.
Who may have not done anything wrong at all, and may not be involved in drugs whatsoever. The reason why they do that is because, of course, they have an incentive.
That was a great preface of that.
Yeah, so we'll run that video now.
Take that money and use it as part of their investigation and then do away with it. They keep it for their own local police departments, cops do this, and
today's talking about a cracker facility. Well, let me tell you what we've got. We have a company called Northwest. Is Frank Simple in here today? He's the CEO. Where is
I remember
Frank?
doing a job
Frank,
as a reporter
come on up.
covering a waitress who she was depositing so much cash.
Okay, we have with us today, you know, I kind of enjoy all this. This is what it was like when I was growing up. Hey, Steubenville, let them know what you think about disruptions, huh? Oh, tell them what you think about it.
When it practices DEA is trying to keep us safe from drug trafficking.
My name's Portia
targeting innocent people who have the audacity to travel with a couple grand in cash, right? And finding ways
it has to stop. We cannot afford to take a chance of destroying our groundwater. We cannot live without water. And it's not the pipelines will leak, it's when they will leak. We can capture the air, we can capture the sun,
for
We do not have to allow Judge Casey to destroy our state. He's bringing wastewater in from Pennsylvania.
Compensation.
And to be healthy. We are an agricultural state. It's the water, the land, and the air. We cannot allow this to happen. And I hope that everybody that's got a smirk on their face right now understands you need water to live. John Casey is selling out Ohio. It's selling out Ohio. To Brokers and Wall Street. To Brokers and Wall Street. We will not be quiet. We will not be quiet. We will not be quiet. We are the people. We are the people.